purpose, on purpose, trying to let these young boys know it's worth it. These demons be lurking, traumatized by the crimes over time.
So today with us on Stewart Talk, we're honored to have with us, man, this guy right here been putting in the work for so long, man. Not only in high school, but after high school on another level. Like he's doing stuff that is really ain't talked about that not too many people do. And he's so humble. He shows great humility, but he's really excelling at the next level. Here on Stewart Talk, we walk in our purpose on purpose. Today we have with us Mr. Lance Cavanaugh. How you doing today?
Blessings, man. How we doing, man? It's been a minute since I seen you too.
Yeah, it have been, man. You've been dominating, man. Just being an impact and being great at your sport, man.
Well, not as great as I used to be now that I've given much of it up, but
Yeah,
I still do my part in it. I still do my bits.
yeah, man. So how did this journey, start? Growing up in Toledo, Ohio, playing all different sports, excelling at football. Was rugby ever a thought, or like when did it take off? Like, I'm gonna try this.
Well, it used to come on. I don't know if people know this, but it used to be on every so often on like Fox Sports 2 and all those like different, auxiliary networks and stations. So I've seen it be played, but I didn't really know anything about it or hold a rugby ball until I'd already graduated high school. And I
Yeah,
saw some highlights. And one thing about athletes is, it's not over. You know what I'm saying? It's never really over. You want to keep playing as long as you can play. You want to be and enjoy the game. But football after high school is a whole different thing. And I didn't really want to, chase a college thing or do something semi-pro. So I was okay with leaving football, but I still wanted, contact, competition. I still wanted to
yeah.
be in action. So when I found rugby, it just fit me.
Yeah, shout out to Meekis as well. Did he go on this journey with you? Did y'all both start together? How was that conversation? Bro, I'm about to do this. Come get this and try.
All right. So basically I've been playing I started playing rugby in 2007, like July 2007. Demetrius was just leaving. He was playing college football his first year. I think he went to like Wayne State or something. Yeah, he went to Wayne State. And I had already played a year. And I'm basically just trying to talk this dude into playing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whenever I talked to him when he was at school, I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? I can't wait till you back. Can't wait till you kicking it or whatever. Like we can get back to being athletes, doing what we do, da 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 da. Cause we played we wrestled together in high school, we played football together in high school. So I was already like trying to like, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, let's compete, let's play flag football, whatever. Like let's get to something. As soon as he came back to Ohio, and I ended up spending a year playing rugby. And once I started playing, I'm like, dude, this is perfect for you. Like you gotta like listen. And this is the one thing I do to talk people into playing rugby. Because as you say, it's not something that's very prevalent in the city. So when most
Yeah.
people play rugby, they got this misconception. All I had to do was say one thing to Demetrius, who spent his whole athletic career pretty much blocking. He was a guard in high school, the offensive guard in high school. So I was like, hey man, in rugby, you get the ball. Um, once I said that, he ended up coming out to a game, and he came out to a game, and then when the next season was starting up, I like, man, you might as well try it. You seen it? He came out to one practice. He was like real like modest about it. Like, man, it's cool, whatever side. And practice on Tuesday and Thursday. So he came to Tuesday practice. And then Thursday, right around the time practice was about to start, he pulled up to the crib like, what's good? We going to practice? What's up? And that was it. It, bro. After that, man, we was locked in, man.
Yeah, how was the learning process as far as for rugby? Because I know it's different rules. I know it takes a lot of skill, technique, and just mental toughness.
I mean, strictly on the fact that it's a different game than any game I played, right? So growing up, I played up until I was an adult, right? I played 4 years total of football, right? I didn't play much football. Played baseball a lot. It's not any sport that I played that was comparable except for wrestling. There's so
Okay.
many elements in wrestling and some elements in football that translated so well that as far as the physical part of the game of rugby, I understood immediately. Like I just ball carrying, I get it. Making a tackle, I get it. Now once you kind of get past the point that there's no stopping and setting up like in football, the game keeps going. Like you can make one of the best tackles you ever made in your life. Absolutely smoke a guy, perfect technique, drive him into the ground, all of that. It don't even matter because the ball is about to be moved and they playing on the other side of the field now. So you got to get used to just the continuous part of it. Between that and the rules, getting used to the fact that it never stops, and then getting used to each rule and how they affect the game and the consequences of rules and what it means, like what making a mistake can actually mean to the score line. You know what I mean? You learn these kind of things in every other sport, but then when you start seeing the severity of, oh, I gave up a penalty. Oh, we're in trouble because I gave up a penalty, or that kind of thing. And it didn't take long at all. I mean, maybe a season, and I pretty much understood like everything that was happening in the game. But you really don't understand the game until you can start using the rules to your advantage, and that didn't happen until I was 3 years in. But once it did, it was pretty much that's when the skyrocket happened, when I was really starting to ascend and do some things.
Yeah, you and one thing I noticed, we kind of talked before about your brother. Shout out to Mike Cavanaugh. He always had a work ethic. He always had a motor, like, and your motor was twice as fast. Like, did you get that growing up, following behind him, or was that just something that's just embedded in the Cavanaugh genes? Like, cause your motor, I remember playing flag football, man. You would catch an interception, score a touchdown, come back, do it again, offense, get like your motor was nonstop. Like, where did that work ethic come from?
Man, I just like competing, bro. Like
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be out here, I might as well go hard, right? And that's, I guess, a lot of that is from my father, right? Because he would see me play like basketball as a kid, and he would think that I wasn't like fully engaged, in basketball. Really, it's just because I didn't have a deep interest in basketball was really the issue. But I would just kind of be like in and out of the game, just like whatever. And he kind of pulled me to the side one day. I was like, look, man, if you're gonna be playing, you're gonna be on the field, if you're gonna be in the action, you need to be giving it 100%, so that when it's over with, when the game is over with, this is a lesson that kind of evolved too. When the game, how he was saying is, when the game was over with, you can look at it and reflect on the fact that you put the effort in to actually win and compete, to give your team the advantage. And as I grew older, I realized that it's not just game to game. I mean, it's tackle to tackle. It's ball carry to ball carry. It's game to game. It's season to season. And then now that I'm on the back end where I'm not really playing anymore, but I'm more doing all the other stuff, I kind of look back on my career and realize that led me to live with not having regret, or to not feel as though I could have gave a little more. Like, I knew that every time I stepped on the field, or the pitch, is what they call it in rugby. Every time I stepped on the pitch, um, it was 100. It was 100, and I don't know. I couldn't see it any other way after that conversation I had with him. I was maybe 11 when I had that conversation with him, and that pretty much became a staple of who I was as an athlete. Even you telling me this, us playing flag football together, that was, goodness gracious, that's like 20 something years ago. When you think about it, that's like that's literally like 20 years ago, and that's something you remember even now. So it still carried with me. It's the same kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, because sometimes I mean, we love our team to death, but sometimes when you was at Scott, but I'm saying the offense because of the coaches and stuff, it was kind of predictable. So you was making big plays that you needed. So it was like, all right, he done made 3 different plays. Come on, offense, do something now. At the games.
yeah, man. And see, now okay, you remember a little bit.
Yeah, I want you to speak to the youth, man, about being their self and not following with the Joneses, and being okay with making their own path. Because that's one thing I love about you and your brother. Y'all comfortable in what y'all want to do. Y'all don't just do stuff just to do it. But when y'all find y'all niche, when y'all find the thing that y'all love, y'all excel and be great at it.
Well, this is part of. I mean, if we talking about youth, then this is just talk. Let's talk about people growing up and coming into their own, right? A lot of what you find out is the things that, and lucky for me, I just was okay with being me. But a lot of the stuff, when you grow up, that was important at one point stopped being important later. So a lot of people put their mind, their energy, they got anxiety and stresses over things that in 6 months they never really think about or even consider. And the beautiful thing about how I approach stuff is like, I just got, this is what I'll say. I have such a interest and love in competition, especially in high school football, especially with rugby, or what rugby was able to fulfill in that sense, that became important. Like the things that was number one in me stayed number one the entire time. And that's one reason why I charted my own course and playing rugby, which is different than everything. It didn't seem like a big step to me because I get to, we get to compete. And, we hitting out here. Like, I get to go, I get to get to the action. The things I learned basically were, though, that if you want to be good at it, or if you wanted to excel further, in a lot of ways, it has to be an everyday thing. And that's where, like, you don't really get trapped in the Joneses, because if you enjoy competing, and, I'm using myself as an example, I enjoy competing. I enjoy the things about rugby that allow me to compete. All right, so now I got to get my skills up in order to be better at it. So now I never really worried about fads or following some kind of whatever, because I like this game. This game fits me. I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to hoop because I don't know, they don't fit me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was hooping. And if you from Toledo, hooping is the one, right? Hooping is it. Especially when I was growing up, them Scott and Libby games, you played in a few, like them Scott and Libby games, and what they meant as far as like culturally, will have a young person like, I want to be out there like playing that. I want to be, we in UT, we at Savage Arena. I'm seeing people that's, go to the school down the street playing in the college stadium. If it was about trying to be like other people, I would have tried to hoop a whole bunch. But I knew I just didn't have an interest in hooping. So like staying true to what it is, like believing what I felt, you know what I'm saying, instead of being pushed to try to do something that's for other people, and being okay with working at it every day. And for me, it became rugby after high school.
What challenges did you face in rugby being an African American, if any?
Rugby is rampant with racism.
Okay.
Well, I'll say this. Not to be as shrewd as to say it's rampant with racism. There's racist parts. There's racist stereotypes. Black people getting put in certain positions, or the positions that have less to do with controlling the team or being a quarterback, but more to do with being a more of a wideout kind of thing. It's almost in the same kind of vein as far as like how quarterbacks are treated, or how they were, or the schools of thought of quarterbacks back in the day. It's a bit of that. There's a bit of there's not much representation. So, for myself, there isn't any USA players when I was on my way up, or when I was learning, that had the skill set that I had. So I would have to go find people that was in other countries. So like South Africa, you know what I'm saying? The only team with some bros on it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm watching South Africa athletes, not finding that representation in the game, or it's here now. It's a lot more melanated people in the game. And then, a lot of it does have to do with what America is, right? So I'm leaving Toledo, Ohio, inner city, right? Graduated from Scott, you know what I'm saying? 2400. It is what it is. And I grew up around hoods, you know what I'm saying? It's a Crip hood over here, it's a Blood hood over here, da 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 da. And then you go to Michigan, and I go to Michigan for school, and all these cats live in rural areas. So they grew up with a whole different environment, and the stereotypes that they were force fed as kids or whatever, they believe in. So it's a lot of like, as on the teams I played on, I'm fighting against stereotypes, and a bunch of stereotypes you lean into naturally, because I speak with a little bit of the vernacular. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hip hop head, especially at the time. I was a hip hop head, so a lot of the stereotypes I would fall into. So it's you're dealing with people who try to figure out as much about you without actually knowing you. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of stuff happens where you're just dealing with people who got their own preconceived notions that you got to battle against, or that kind of stuff. But that's more or less what the makeup of America is. So I'll throw it to that, you know what I mean? And because rugby isn't such a widely recognized sport, you can keep certain players down because it's not a contingent of people that's like if all of a sudden LA didn't want to put LeBron in the game, everybody be like, why LeBron ain't playing? You know what I'm saying? Or if the USA team posted a roster, and you'll be looking like, man, hold on, this dude not on the roster, but this dude is. Like, it ain't like that in rugby. So if people get kept off of all-star teams, regional teams, all-American teams, selection teams, it's not like some kind of like consensus where it's like these are the people who deserve it, they're being shortchanged. It's just like, hey, we selected who we selected. So it's that kind of stuff in the game. And it has an effect. I think back then, back when I was on my come up, was getting more or less towards the ending of it. It's still in there, but it's not the same as it was before.
Yeah. When did you see yourself excelling, and when did you really start to do good, and when was it showing like it wasn't no second guessing or no thoughts like, yeah, he really a good player, and you started really excelling?
That, that's a great question. It happens in stages, right? So my introduction was July 07. So from July 07 to like September 2009 was just me trying to learn as much as I can. So all I did was show that I can run fast with the ball, right? I didn't necessarily do things that would be like a good rugby player. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's basically like in hoop, if every time I got the ball at the top of the key, I can just drive and dunk,
Yeah.
right? Drive and dunk. On the level I'm at, I'm just driving and dunking, driving and dunking. I'm just getting easy buckets, dunking, dunking, dunking. And then you move to another level, and you can't just drive down a lane in this level, or whatever was working before ain't working the same, right?
Yeah.
I think by the time that I was into my first year at Davenport, which I ended up leaving in 2010 to go to college, by the midway point of that season, I had pretty much hit a stride where it was like undeniable, like, I got a real handle on this. And
Yeah.
I believe it was like a 4 or 5 game stretch, like a 4 game stretch where I scored like 7 times or something. Right. It was like
Wow.
this stretch where I was just basically on absolute fire. And it was against some of the better competition we was facing that year. And that's when I really knew, like, yeah, I think that's when I was like, okay, maybe it can just be more than just me having fun with it. Like, maybe I can actually chase it a little bit and go find my way in it. And then it happened again when I ended up moving to Georgia to play at another school. And at the time, we were the #1 team in the nation.
What school? What school is that?
It's called Life University. It's in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay, I'm hip to that. I'm in Powder Springs. Yeah, I'm hip to that. Like,
Okay, all right, bet. You know about it then. So I I ended up going to this school, and that was in 2013. So I started in 2007. By 2013, I was playing on the #1 team in the nation. At that time, on all levels, like the best team in the USA. And I was pretty much a leading scorer, or leading try scorer. Because it's people who kick and they get more points than me, because every time anybody score, they get points, right? And
yeah,
then you only get points when I score or score. You know what I mean? So once I got there, it didn't really take long at all. I mean, it was one point where it was just like the offense was pretty much like, hey, we doing what we need to in the middle of the field. Now let's get the ball to the wings. And that's the position I played. I played more on the outside of the field. If you
yeah,
understand the structure of rugby, the bigger people are usually central, and the faster, agile people are on the end. So then it was like, all right, let's just play in the space and go wider. And by that time, man, I was pretty much, every time I touched the ball, it was like he can go. Like, I can score anytime I touch the ball, kind of thing. Like, and that was, it took 7 years, 6 or 7 years for me to get good enough to do that. But that's when I knew, like, I'm ready, so to speak.
when did the awards start coming individually, and when did the championship start?
Well, individually awards, I didn't really get this. Is the thing I was saying about people can be stifled and held back and kind of thing in rugby, especially back then. Is I don't have many individual awards, right? I would get like, this funny. I would get like back of the year. So there's forwards and there's backs, right? I would get back of the year, and that'd be a year our team won the championship. You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of things that will happen where it'd be like, you're back of the year and it's the best team in the nation. But it was never like an all-American list or anything like that. Those things were kind of slowing down and not really in strong existence like they are today. So I would say, so in 2010, when I first went to Davenport, me and Demetrius went. We went together, right? We won a national championship our first year there. We won a national championship our second year there. So we won back to back immediately. D1 AA national championships back to back. And when I say it was kind of a surprise, hey fam, the trials and tribulations to win a championship are absolutely ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. The stuff you got to go through, the way you got to like actually, like I said, it's got to be an everyday thing. So 2010 was my first championship. 2011 was my first championship. 2012 was my second. And then since then, man, I just always played on pretty good teams. So even if we didn't win a national championship, we would win some kind of big regional tournament or some specialty tournament or some specialty competition. And I just, I'm just one of the guys who's just trying to score points. That was my job. So I think a lot from that, like our team success, and I'm scoring a lot of points kind of thing.
Yeah. So, are you still playing, and how long have you been playing?
So the last game that I played was May 2022.
Okay.
That was my last national championship. So the national championship game in 2022 was my last time playing. And mainly I stopped playing because, you can't play forever kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mostly because I started to pivot into doing more coverage of the sport. As you can see by my shirt, Great American Rugby. You can see by my hat, Great American Rugby.
Yeah, tell us about that.
All right. So when I was a player, there wasn't any coverage of the players. There wasn't any coverage of the game. There wasn't anything to show appreciation to players, man. Like if you love the game, when people playing it, you got to be able to show them some kind of recognition for it, right? Imagine watching high school football players 7-on-7 get national media coverage, but rugby in no iteration gets the same thing. It was a weird thing for me to see. And, after spending so much time playing the game, learning so much about it, having an understanding of the strategical part of the games, not just being good or being on the field, but how to set up a team, what it takes for a team to win, what good rugby looks like. Having this knowledge, it was a strange thing to just stop playing and go work at a car dealership or something and just have all this great information. And it's not a big community that has this information that can share it to the next generation. So instead of moving into coaching like most people would do, I decided to just talk rugby, man. That's essentially what it became. Great American Rugby was created so that I can give players a platform to talk about who they are, why they love rugby, why they appreciate the game. Eventually, it became what it is now, where I get invited to big tournaments. I get invited to commentate for big tournaments, national championship tournaments. I've commentated 2 international matches, at least. I guess this will be my fifth. This will be my seventh national championship game or national championship event that I'll be working this coming weekend, and just finding a way to have someone who's bigging up the game. I created it so that players and people can, can hear about the game, can learn about people from other places, and the connections that I made for players, the opportunities that's been created just from me getting in front of a microphone, talking about who did what, when, and where. Man, it's a blessing, man. It's a beautiful thing to be able to help the game after you're done playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What legacy do you hope to leave back with that?
Well, this a crazy thing, right? The first thought I had was like, I want to bring rugby to Scott. I want to bring rugby back to my, you know what I'm saying? But in all actuality, once Scott had a rugby team, I'm like, yeah, the game gonna be fine. Like it'll find its way kind of thing. So now I want to be able to say that I had an influence in the promotion of the game that touched the inner cities, touched different parts that are completely forgotten from rugby in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? The legacy that I feel would be most important would be helping a group of young players easily assimilate into the game that I love and eventually create their own legacy. You know what I mean? So I guess my dream is for others to be able to chase theirs kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's probably more or less more of the line. At some point I'll start a youth team. And down here, I live in I live just outside of Miami. So I'll start a youth team down here, man, with some of these kids from the that you see playing 7-on-7, right?
Yeah.
Catch them when they 12-year-olds, right? Get them a ball early on, and you know what I mean, see how that looks. So that's what I want to do.
And the game is expanding a lot of different games. Like I see Scott got soccer, they got boys volleyball, they got dodgeball. So what you doing is you trendsetting again because you starting this off. And I know, like I said, I know you do it for the love. You don't really show it or broadcast it unless it come up in conversations. But this is my whole purpose of me doing this is to showcase people like yourself that's been impactful coming from Toledo, Ohio, and allowing your journey, your testimony to be shown to encourage other people because a lot of people don't know they stuck, not knowing where to go or not knowing what they want to do about, after high school or even having dreams or setting goals. What would you say to the high school student that's graduating or the young adult that really don't know what to do or what direction to go?
Oh, goodness gracious. First thing is figuring out the ending that you want is probably the most important part, right? Most people don't have that part of it. Like, I want a family, I want a house, I want cars. And then it's like, all right, so how are we gonna get there? All right, so you figured out the ending you want. But also you just gotta get in the field. Like, this is one thing I tell people all the time, like, and this is something that I stand by 110%. Even if what you're into isn't exactly what you're into 100%, if you don't know what that 100% is, lock into the field that you in. Like, you have to be in the game to give yourself an opportunity to win it. And a lot of the not understanding what to do or where to go will leave you stagnant. It'll have you sitting around not really having a purpose to fulfill or having a place to go. And you can find it on your way. You know what I mean? I found rugby. I'm playing against people who've been playing rugby since they was kids. I didn't pick up my first rugby ball until I was like 20, right? But I'm being able to find this game, learn about it, develop my skills, has me in a comparable place with all these people who've been playing since they was kids. You know what I mean? Like, I was able to, if I'd have been playing since I was 7, look out, right? But it's people playing since they were kids and they got to worry about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, the part of it is just, you just got to get out here. You know what I mean? Even if it's, not even sports. This isn't even a sport thing. This question isn't a sports question. This is a life question you really just asked, right? So even if you hate your job at Checkers or whatever, right? Lock in where you at while you figuring out the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and actually consciously try to figure out. Stay in the field because it might not be, you might not care to flip burgers, but you'll be a really good district manager, or you'll be really good delivery driver. You'll be good as the guy fixing the AC unit or the refrigerators. But you know what I mean? You're not in these places to know these things exist. You know what I mean? So just go out here and get after it. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's something small, even if it's just the beginning, like, get in the field. That's what I say. Get in the field, get in the game.
Yeah, great. You still got that great positive mindset too, man. That always was top tier too. Tell us where we can follow you and follow your American Rugby at, and how can they, support.
Great American Rugby. Rugby is life and life is great. My name is Lance. Let me tell y'all something. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. It's Great American Rugby. One thing we big on. Oh, would the glare fix itself? It won't. Oh, there we go. I don't care. I'll turn it on. Anyway, live in gratitude. This is my championship belt. I carry this thing at all the tournaments I go to. Anybody that win a tournament that I'm at, they get to hold the belt. They get to represent. But on the belt, it say that you got to live in gratitude. And I'm real big on that. Find me on Instagram at Great American Rugby, on YouTube at Great American Rugby. And holla at me, man. Let's get to it, man. I'm talking to all the players out here. I'm getting connected with everybody, and I'm trying to build the game up, man. That's my goal.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man, for stopping by. Continue to do the work, man. Continue to just be you.
Hold on. You got me here. It's a Great American Rugby tradition to give thanks and gratitude to somebody who helped you on your rugby journey. You didn't play rugby, but you can give thanks and gratitude to somebody who helped you on your journey. Show some love, man.
Just any sport or anything?
show some love to somebody, man, who put on for you.
Jeremy Robinson, he been helping me, with this podcast and even encouraging me as I go on this journey, as I continue.
See, and I do that. I do that on all my shows. I do that on all my. So if y'all check out my page, Great American Rugby on Instagram, like a bunch of my videos is me asking that same question in the same way, and just getting people to show love to people that helped them on the way. Man, you gotta live in gratitude.
Yep. But thanks, man. It's been great, man. Like I said, we're gonna keep on supporting. We're gonna keep on, showing people's journey to allow people to, make the main thing and find their why, and just continue to move and walk in their purpose. And you definitely walking in yours, and we appreciate it.
Every day, man. I appreciate you having me, man. And I'll be back soon. I'm gonna do something crazy. We're gonna make something happen. I'll be back to talk about that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate you, dog.
Yeah.